For anyone who doesn't know, the Daytona 500 is the Super Bowl of NASCAR. It's the one race everybody cares about. It's the one you want in your trophy case. It was such a big deal when Dale Earnhardt won it in 1998 that every team greeted him down pit lane. However, there has been one man who consistently, year after year, gets screwed out of winning. That man is Kyle Busch.
Everything's great.
Now, on the surface, Busch's career already puts him amongst all of NASCAR's greats. 63 career cup wins, 2 championships, 200 plus wins across trucks and Xfinity, and overall just one of the most dominant drivers of the modern playoff format. The problem is, much like greats like Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, he has never hoisted the Daytona 500 trophy, which feels like the completion of his career accomplishments. It would take him to a new realm of class because people who win the 500 are just in a different group. But Busch's time is running out. This year felt as good of a chance as any. Kyle had a fast car with good track position with under 20 laps to go. Kyle Busch was doing everything right, but then on lap 185, Joey Logano and Ricky Stenhouse collided, causing a massive pileup where Busch would end up in the inside wall. But this isn't the first time the two-time NASCAR champ has had horrible luck. Let's go back to last year. Busch ran in the top 5, top 10 early in stages 1 and 2, even had the lead for a little bit. But suddenly in the middle of stage 2, a loose wheel would appear from the 8 car, and even though they were able to fix it, Kyle just didn't have the same speed. He'd end up 12th, but if it hadn't been for that wheel issue, he's probably up front at the end. 2022, Kyle Busch's last year with JGR seemed to be another great opportunity. Kyle had done very well at the Clash a week prior, qualified 10th, was racing near the front. On lap 63, he would be involved in the first big wreck of the day. He'd slide into the apron, but he was able to continue. Busch would fight his way back up to 6th. I wouldn't really call this unlucky, just unfortunate. And this was so early in the race that it really didn't make an impact long term. 2021, Kyle didn't have the speed that many had come to expect. He was good, but not great. He stayed around 7th and 9th, but he stayed out of trouble. This was until the final lap when he was an innocent bystander in the biggest crash of the night. Brad Keselowski goes into the outside wall and Busch just slams into the numbers of the two, absolutely destroys both cars. 2020 absolutely sucked, not just the year, but the Daytona 500 for Kyle Busch and company. With just a handful of laps to go, clearly in contention, Busch had what was believed to be a tire rub. Then he gets back out there, runs 30th or so, and when it's time to refire the engines after a red flag, the 18 doesn't start and has an engine failure. 2019, now this year was great for Kyle and the 18 team. He won the NASCAR championship. However, he was just moments away from winning his first Daytona 500. He had a great race, stayed clean, was up front at the end. He just didn't have the speed that his teammate Denny Hamlin had, finishing 2nd. The next piece of bad luck comes in 2015, and it actually didn't come from the Cup race, but instead the Xfinity race on Saturday. Kyle was driving the 54 for Joe Gibbs, as he often did to prepare for the season. 10 laps to go, and Kyle Busch gets turned, slides all the way into the inside fence, and slams into it head on. This caused Busch to be out for significant time due to a fracture in his foot, missing the Daytona 500 entirely. Once again, this actually ended up being a good thing, as when he returned, he went on a tear, winning 5 races and the 2015 NASCAR championship. In 2013, much like 2020, Kyle Busch had a great car, was high up as 2nd, but on lap 150, Busch came down to pit road saying he was blowing up and had another engine failure. In 2009, Kyle Busch had what most to be considered the dominant car of the day. He was in the lead for a lot of this race. However, he'd be slammed into Brian Vickers during the big one with 77 laps to go, ending his chances for a Daytona 500. The first instance of bad luck in the 500 for Busch came in 2007 when Kyle was still driving for Rick Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports. He would show off his talent, driving all the way from 24th to 2nd, staying out of trouble in prime position to jump out past Mark Martin. But instead, Kevin Harvick was able to get a run on the outside, simply leaving Busch out of room to make something happen. He would end up colliding with Matt Kenseth off the final turn. It's safe to say Kyle Busch does not get along with Daytona International Speedway and specifically the Daytona 500. Will he ever get one? I certainly hope so, but who knows? He may go down as the greatest driver never to win the Great American Race. Luckily, Kyle seems to be in great shape and has made no clear indications that he wants to stop racing anytime soon, so he may get another 5 to 8 tries at this thing, but with all the bad luck around him, it's not looking super promising.